All right, so this is the third step of the favorites project. This is where we put in text. We have all our guides set up. If you have your picture set up like you see on screen, then you should be good to go with all the text. And what we do when we set text, like in the text project, we set individual letters, but in this project, we're going to use boxes, text boxes. So how you make one is you just click and drag, and that makes a text box. You saw right there on screen. I'm going to Control Z that or Escape to stop it. And then what I'm going to do, you can see there's a little line that crosses the text tool. You want to center that like a crosshair on the top left of the box you want to select and drag to the bottom right and snap it in there. So that's how we line up all the text automatically to our pictures. We don't have to do any work. We already set our guides. So as long as you can just snap it right to those guides, then you're fine. Let's just see what my font is. Not bad, I guess. Probably size this up. So this is a kind of a small font I'm using, I think. Maybe even higher. Let's go back to the start. Let's put more space. Probably set this around 160. See how that works. Okay, there we go. So that's like a decent size for a title. The title is the file name, which is Jed's Favorites. Oof, those capitals are interesting. Yeah, that font is interesting for sure. One important thing about when you're setting text on graphic design stuff, the titling can be a fancy font, right? But the body copy has to be a legible, sort of more simple font. So I tend to like sans serif. It looks a bit more modern. Again, we can use our magnifying glass here. So we have magnifying glass at the bottom of the screen or bottom of the toolbar. And then I'm just going to zoom in. If I hold down Alt, I can zoom back out. So zoom in, zoom out, right? If you get lost, Control 0 will just full screen you again. Sometimes you can get lost in like the details or wherever it is and get way too small. So there we go. So we're just going to zoom in on this text box right here. And I'm going to go back to my text tool and drag a box. I'm going to change this font just to a standard sans serif. And then standard text, will usually be like a dark color on light, light color on dark, something that's legible, right? You can go to like a dark gray or something if you want it to be a bit more subtle, but it should be nice and clear. So we're going to size this back down to 14 points. I'm using pictures from another student's demo from last term or from their project. So I'll just write captions about what they're doing. So in the captions, you have to describe what's happening in the picture and how it relates to you personally. So this is a picture of a baseball. I played baseball since I was 5. I used to practice with my dad. We'd watch games, we'd go to games. All the details you can give me about how this activity relates to you, right? Memories, how you grew up, etc. So I'm going to say, well, I have no connection. This is did we say 14? I believe the game of baseball was invented by a race of hyper intelligent frogs. I used to play this game with my dad, and I was a small tadpole. I mean, boy, etc. So I want you to write a little bit more than that. I don't have much to say about baseball. I should have picked one more in my interests. I don't even know what this car is either. But regardless, you're trying to do 1, 2, 3, like a paragraph is like 3 or 4 sentences, another couple details. So I'm just going to sub this text in because you just saw how I did that. Or actually, here, I'll do the text box thing again. So then I go back to my text tool. I do my next box. Let's just say I put a bunch of amazing words in here. I just want you to see it visually. And then how I'm finalizing that is I go back to my arrow tool, just like with the type. Scroll down, going back to the type tool, so on and so forth. Click and drag, I hit that top left corner. This is my next box. Finalize with arrow tool, get type tool, drag my next box. Oh, the type is actually 8.64, so it was not sized right. Okay, I'm going to show you what a 14 looks like, I guess. I believe this is how your layout should look more or less. Everything's lined up, titling's lined up to this line and that left line. And everything's kind of aligned top left, right? Type text is all side to side in the boxes. Now, on the mountain bike design, the problem with a lot of type on a colored background is that if you go, for example, to a white, let's just say I drag a box, like it looks good in some areas, but you can see as it crosses the arm of the guy, then it becomes unreadable, right? So you want type to always contrast the color or shade of your background. If your background is light and dark, like a photo usually is, then a lot of the times text won't work per se. But there's a way to get around that. So you'll see in a lot of magazines and the layouts on a photo, if they're trying to write a caption, they're going to put a box in there. So we're going to go to the top of our layer stack. You can see layers down there. I just selected top layer. It's blue. I make a new layer right here. And then we're just doing the same tool used on Pixel. So because you guys have used this tool so many times, I hope you'll be this will be pretty easy for you. So I'm selecting on layer 3. I've got Paint Bucket right here. I'm just going to fill in a white box because it can give me a certain effect. So I can control the transparency of any layer, and that's always in opacity right here, right in the layers box. So any layer, right? I can take this photo down as well and make it transparent above the old photo that I subbed it in above it. So yeah, so what I'm going to do is take this text box and drop its opacity down, because then I still see a bit of the picture through it, but then it modifies the details, right? So my text isn't going to disappear in that tree if I go dark. So if I go back to a text tool, and then I go back to my sort of black color, and then notice how I dragged inside the margins of that box. That is what you want to do. You want to not go right to the edge and not have it too narrow, right? Try to find a nice balance. So at this point, you're done. If you have your captions all in, you have your main titling on the left side, you have your color box, maybe set transparent. If you want to go solid color, that's fine. And also your caption inside that color box. So that's pretty much what we're going to get to today. Next day, we'll do a save and hand in. Okay. We'll see you soon. Take care. Bye.